The capture ritual. The sun had just set on the planet Charon 5, painting the alien sky in shades of purple and red. Human engineer Rayan Holt walked slowly through the strange jungle, his boots pressing against glowing moss. His mission was simple: fix a broken energy core at an outpost. But tonight, something strange was pulling him deeper into the Forbidden Forest. He shouldn't have been here. His wristcom even warned him, restricted zone ahead, return immediately. But Rayan ignored it. He had heard whispers from the local aliens, something about a ritual, something about energy harvesting. The words haunted him. Suddenly, he heard drums, deep, rhythmic, echoing through the trees. Rayan crouched behind a giant root and peeked into a clearing. What he saw made his heart race. A large bonfire blazed in the center, and around it stood at least 20 tribal aliens tall, 4-armed, and painted with glowing red ink. They danced in circles, their sharp blades shining in the firelit. In the center of it all stood a girl. Not just any girl, an alien girl. She looked young, maybe no older than a human teenager. Her silver blue skin shimmered like moonlight, and her long hair floated as if underwater. Her eyes were large and glowing, filled with fear. Chains bound her arms, and strange symbols were carved into her skin, pulsing with blue light. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. But her eyes searched the shadows like she knew someone was watching. Rayan couldn't move. His breath froze. He should have turned back. He should have left. But then the girl looked right at him. Her lips didn't move. Yet a voice echoed in his mind. Please, help me. His heart pounded. Was he imagining it? Some kind of mental trick? One of the tribal aliens shouted something in a deep voice. The drums stopped. 2 warriors stepped forward and lifted the girl off the ground. She struggled weakly, her energy clearly fading. The fire roared higher, and a giant metal pot was rolled forward. Rayan's stomach turned. They were going to boil her alive. He watched in horror as the alien priest dipped a crystal rod into the fire, chanting in a language Rayan couldn't understand. The flames turned blue. Suddenly, the girl's body began to glow brighter. They weren't killing her for fun. They were trying to absorb her energy. Monsters. Rayan whispered to himself. He looked down at his bag. Tools, a laser cutter, a shock stick. Nothing strong enough for a fight, but he couldn't leave. The girl stared again. Her eyes were wide, desperate. Please. Something inside Rayan snapped. He didn't care about the rules. Didn't care about the danger. He made a plan. That night, when the ceremony ended and the aliens fell asleep around the fire, Rayan crept closer. Step by step, silent as a ghost, he approached the tree where the girl was chained. She didn't scream. She didn't move. Only tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm here, Rayan whispered. Stay quiet. He took out his laser cutter and carefully sliced through the chains. The girl winced, but didn't speak. Suddenly, one of the guards nearby shifted in his sleep. Rayan froze, holding his breath. Silenced. He continued cutting. After what felt like forever, the last chain broke. The girl fell into his arms light as a feather. Rayan picked her up and ran. Branches hit his face. Thorns tore at his clothes. But he didn't stop. Behind him, a howl rose into the night. They were awake. They knew. Rayan looked down at the girl in his arms. She was barely conscious, glowing softly, her head resting on his shoulder. I've got you, he said, running faster. The jungle roared with life. But Rayan didn't care. For some reason he didn't understand yet, this alien girl had trusted him. She had reached into his mind, called for help. And he had answered. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why they wanted to kill her. But he had a feeling this was only the beginning. The silent escaper. Rayan didn't know how long he had been running. The jungle of Charon 5 felt endless. Every tree looked the same. Every shadow looked like danger. But he didn't stop. He couldn't dot in his arms. The alien girl lay still, her soft silver blue skin glowing faintly. Her eyes were closed now, but her breathing was shallow. Weak. He stopped behind a thick tree and whispered, "We have to hide." She opened her eyes slowly. "They'll follow the energy." Rayan looked around. Her body was too bright. Even the leaves near her were glowing from the energy she gave off. "We need to cover your light," he said, pulling off his brown jacket. He wrapped her in it tightly. It helped a little, but not enough. From far behind, a deep horn echoed through the forest. They were coming. Rayan moved again, slower now, trying not to make any noise. He reached a slope leading to an old cave entrance, half covered in vines and stone. He cleared the path and carried her inside. The air inside was cool, damp, safe. He laid her down gently on a flat stone and looked at her closely for the first time. Her body was thin and covered in strange glowing lines like blue veins of energy running across her skin. Her arms and legs had deep cuts, not bleeding, but glowing. Rayan's hands trembled. He wanted to ask so many questions, but first, "I need to help you," he said softly. "Do you have a name?" Her lips moved, barely. "Solara." Rayan nodded. "I'm Rayan. Just stay still. I'll try to stop the pain." He opened his toolkit and pulled out a med-seal patch. It wasn't made for alien skin, but it was all he had. He gently pressed the patch onto her shoulder. The glow flickered. She winced but didn't cry out. "You saved me," she whispered. "I couldn't let them do that to you," he replied, pressing another patch on her side. Then he paused. "Why? Why would they boil you alive? What kind of monsters do that?" Solara blinked slowly. "It's not death to them. It's renewal, my kind. We store energy from stars in our bodies. They believe by boiling us alive, they can take it back." Rayan's eyes widened. "So you're like a living battery?" She nodded, shame in her eyes. "They see me as a power source, but I am more." "Damn right you are," Rayan said. He stared at the glowing lines again. "These markings, were you born with them?" "No, they were carved during the binding. It connects my energy to the tribe, makes it easier for them to take it." Rayan clenched his fists. "That's not survival. That's slavery." She looked up at him, eyes shining in the dark. "Why?" "Did you help me, Rayan? You're not from here. You could have walked away." Rayan didn't answer at first. He remembered the moment their eyes met. That silent cry in his head. That hopeless look in her face. "I've seen bad things, war, suffering, but I've never seen someone beg without words like that. And still be brave." He leaned closer. "You didn't scream. You just stared death in the face. That's why." Suddenly, the ground shook. Boom. Far outside, a group of alien warriors stomped through the jungle. Rayan heard their voices, low, angry, clicking sounds. Solara's body trembled. "They're tracking me." Rayan looked at the cave wall, then at his tools. "Can you walk?" he asked. She tried to sit up. Her legs shook. She nodded barely. Rayan grabbed a small EMP mine from his bag. "Okay, I'm going to set this at the entrance. It'll block their sensors for a few minutes. But they'll come inside," Rayan smiled. "That's why we're not staying here." He helped Solara to her feet, keeping his jacket wrapped around her glow. They moved to the back of the cave, where a narrow tunnel led out to the other side of the hill. Just before they left, Rayan set the MP mine and pressed the trigger. "Go," he whispered. They crawled through the narrow tunnel. The space was tight. Rocks scraped their skin. But the air ahead was fresh. When they came out the other side, the jungle was darker but quiet. Solara leaned on him, her head resting against his shoulder. "Where will we go?" she asked softly. Rayan looked up at the stars. "There's an old mining outpost north of here. Abandoned, but I saw it on my drone maps. We'll hide there." "You're risking so much for me," she said, almost surprised. You deserve better, he replied. Suddenly, her hand brushed against his bare forearm. In an instant, Rayan felt a wave of heat, then flashes of her memories. Her family, her capture, her screams, her refusal to beg. He pulled his hand away, breathless. You showed me everything. Zalara looked away. The bond is starting. I can't stop it. What bond? She hesitated. If an outsider touches a bonded mark, he begins to share my energy. It links us, forever. Rayan's heart raced. Forever? Zalara looked at him seriously. Now if I die, you die. Silence. Then Rayan chuckled. Well, I guess I really can't let you go now. She smiled, weak but genuine. Together, they walked into the dark one step at a time, knowing the real fight hadn't even begun yet. Echoes in her skin. The rain hit the metal roof of the old mining outpost like 1,000 tiny hammers. Rayan sat in the corner of the rusted control room, watching Zalara sleep on a faded mattress. Her glowing skin lit up the dark space like soft moonlight. The blue lines on her body pulsed gently, as if they had their own heartbeat. He hadn't slept all night, not because of fear, but because of her. She wasn't just any alien girl. She was something else, something ancient and ever. Since he touched those glowing marks, he felt it too, a hum beneath his skin, a low vibration in his bones. Something had awakened. He stood up and walked closer to her. Zalara, he whispered. She stirred, then opened her eyes slowly. You didn't sleep. He shook his head. You showed me things. Last night, memories, pain, I felt everything. She sat up, pulling the jacket tighter around her. Her hair shimmered like strands of silver silk. You touched the third sigil. That one holds the memories of my bloodline, she said softly. Only bonded ones can see it. Bonded. Rayan echoed. You mean like a link? Yes. She said, you carry a part of me now. And I carry a part of you. Rayan blinked. But I'm just a human. What could I possibly give to you? She looked at him, really looked, and said, hope. Suddenly, the floor shook. The ceiling lights flickered. Rayan grabbed his toolpack and scanned the hallway. The tremors stopped. Just a quake? He said. Zalara shook her head. No. That was a warning. They're using Earth tech to flush us out. What do you mean? He asked. They have a machine that follows the bond trail. Your connection to me, it leaves a print. Rayan cursed. Then we have no time. He looked around the room and saw a locked cabinet. He ripped it open and found something unexpected, a half-charged exosuit left behind by miners. Guess. It's time to upgrade, he said. As Rayan suited up, Zalara sat by an old control panel. Her fingers touched the broken screen. Blue light spread from her hand, and suddenly the system flickered to life. Rayan watched, stunned. You just powered it up? I'm not just energy, she said. I'm knowledge. She pulled up a map. There's a hidden tunnel under this outpost. It leads far beyond the tribe's border. If we reach it, they can't follow. Rayan nodded. Then we move now. He walked over to her, but stopped. Before we go, I need to understand something. He pointed at the glowing lines on her arms. These scars, they aren't just marks, are they? Zalara looked down. Her voice was quiet. No, each one is a story. She gently touched the first one. This was when I turned 5, when they first took my blood for the tribe's lanterns. The second, here, I was 12. They placed me in the center of the village and drained my strength for 7 days. The third, this one, was carved the night my sister died in the boiling pit. She was screaming. I couldn't stop them. Rayan felt a knot in his chest. I'm sorry, he said. Zalara smiled, tears in her eyes. You're the first one who ever said that. They moved fast down metal stairs, through dusty hallways, toward the hidden hatch beneath the outpost. Rayan's scanner beeped. It had found the underground shaft. But just as they reached it, A sharp clang echoed through the hallway. Then another dot and another. Rayan turned around. Out of the shadows stepped a tall figure, half machine, half alien, glowing red eyes. A voice modulator crackled. "The girl belongs to the flames. Hand her over, and we'll spare you." Rayan stepped forward. "Over my dead body. So be it." The cyborg raised its arm. A plasma blade hissed out. Rayan's exosuit clicked into defense mode. A shield burst from his forearm. He looked back at Zalara. "Stay behind me." She shook her head. "No, I won't hide anymore." Suddenly the air shimmered. Zalara stepped forward, her feet glowing, her markings blazing like fire. And with one touch on the floor, blue energy exploded outward, knocking the enemy back into the wall. Rayan stared, stunned. "You didn't tell me you could do that." Zalara smiled. "You hadn't earned it yet." They escaped through the tunnel. Darkness swallowed them, but Zalara lit the way. As they walked, she whispered, "Rayan." "I'm scared." "Why?" he asked. "The bond is growing. If it gets too strong, I won't be able to let you go, ever." Rayan stopped walking. He looked at her, this girl who had once been a sacrifice, now glowing like a star in the darkness. Then, "Don't let me go," he said. "We'll fight together. And we'll survive." She stepped closer. Their hands touched. In that moment, a soft glow spread between them, not from fear, but trust. And deep inside, something ancient awakened again, not just in her, but in both of them. Hunted beneath the earth, the tunnel grew colder with every step. Rayan walked ahead, his exosuit lights barely enough to cut through the thick fog that swirled in the underground passage. The stone walls pulsed with a strange hum, almost like a heartbeat, but not his, and not Zalara's. Behind him, Zalara followed silently, her glowing body dimmed to almost nothing. She was conserving her strength. Her breath was slow. Her eyes focused. Then she whispered, "They've entered the tunnels." Rayan stopped. "What?" She closed her eyes. "I can feel them. 3 energy signatures, coming fast." He clenched his jaw. "How?" "I thought you said the bond trail was broken." Her voice trembled. "It is. But now, they're tracking you." Rayan stared at her. "What do you mean, me?" Zalara hesitated, then touched his chest over the heart. "The bond. It's deep. Now some of my energy lives inside you. That means you're glowing to them too." Rayan muttered a curse under his breath. "So I'm the flashlight now." Suddenly, the tunnel behind them rumbled, echoes of footsteps. Heavy, metal-clawed footsteps. Rayan looked ahead. "How far is the exit?" Zalara pressed her hand against the wall. The markings on her skin flickered, sinking with the stone. "Still. 1/2 mile, but the tunnel shifts. It's alive." Rayan raised an eyebrow. "Alive?" She nodded slowly. "This place was built by my ancestors. It's not just stone. It's bio-coded. It remembers the blood of those who built it." A strange grinding noise echoed ahead. The floor beneath them shifted slightly. Zalara whispered, "It remembers me." Suddenly, a warning siren flashed on Rayan's HUD. Motion detected front and back. "They're flanking us," he said. 2 behind, 1 ahead. Then, without warning, the tunnel collapsed just ahead. Dust choked the air. Rocks slammed down like thunder. The path forward was blocked. Zalara stumbled back in shock. "They collapsed it. We're trapped." "No," Rayan said, pulling her close. "We're bottlenecked. That means if we fight, we only fight in one direction." He activated his suit's shield. The blue glow flared. Behind them, the hunters appeared, twisted hybrids of alien warriors and mechanical frames. Their eyes burned red. Their arms were fused with weapons. Zalara's voice was shaking now. "These are the enforcers. Once warriors of my people, now turned into machines. No emotion. No soul." One step forward. Its voice was hollow. "Return the source. You are not the chosen. Rayan raised his arm. You want her? You're gonna have to come through me. The enforcers didn't hesitate. One fired a plasma dart. Rayan ducked, the shot missing by inches. His exosuit responded fast as Gauntlet. Launched a concussion blast, slamming the lead enforcer into the tunnel wall. But the others didn't stop. One rushed in with bladed arms spinning. Rayan tackled it, crashing them both to the ground. Sparks flew as metal scraped metal. Rayan's visor cracked, but he didn't let go. Solara, he shouted. Now! She stepped forward, eyes glowing pure white. She didn't scream. She didn't blink. She raised both hands, and the tunnel responded. Blue energy veins exploded through the walls, lashing out like tendrils, wrapping around the attackers and pulling them upward, crushing one, tearing another apart. Rayan watched in awe as she floated slightly off the ground, surrounded by a glowing aura. But then her body jerked, and she collapsed. The energy died down. Rayan rushed to her side. Solara, hey, look at me. Her lips barely moved. Too much power. I wasn't ready. He scanned her vitals, unstable. Her energy levels had dropped dangerously. He didn't wait. He pulled off a healing stim from his belt and stabbed it into her side. I'm not losing you now, he whispered. After a minute, she coughed and opened her eyes again. You're crazy, she whispered, smiling weakly. You stayed, I told you, he said. We're bonded now. You die, I die, so let's both live, she chuckled softly. Very logical. Suddenly, the wall behind them rumbled again. A new passage opened, sliding sideways like a puzzle. The tunnel had shifted again. Solara's eyes widened. It opened for us, for you. Rayan blinked. Me? She nodded. The bond. It's been accepted by the roots of this place. You're no longer just a guest. Rayan helped her up. Then let's see where it leads. They limped through the new tunnel, past broken stone and flickering lights, down a long spiral staircase that led deeper, far deeper than either of them expected. At the bottom, they reached a circular chamber, quiet, silent. In the center was a giant crystal floating, glowing the same color as Solara's markings. Her voice was quiet. This is the core, Rayan asked. Of what? Of my people. Of our power, of our pain. She looked at him. And it called to you. He stared at the crystal. Why me? Solara stepped beside him. Because you're the only one who didn't want to use me. The chamber trembled. The crystal pulsed. The bond between them surged again, and something ancient began to wake up. The price of murky. Rayan stared into the core. It hovered in the air, spinning slowly. It wasn't just a crystal dot, it was alive. He didn't understand how he knew it, but he felt it. The same way he had felt Solara's pain. The same way her thoughts sometimes slipped into his mind without words. The core was watching him. Waiting. Behind him, Solara dropped to her knees. Her voice was soft. This is where my people were born. The first spark, the first energy. Every child of my kind is connected to this place, but none of us have ever touched it and survived. Rayan turned. Then why bring me here? Because, she said, looking up at him with tears in her eyes, you might be the only one who can survive it. Rayan took a step back. Wait, what? Do you mean, I'm not a chosen one? I'm not special? Solara nodded slowly. You're not special. You're human. That's why the core doesn't reject you. He frowned. That makes no sense. She placed her hand over her heart. My people are bound by the past, by rules, by sacrifice. You acted on mercy. You didn't know me. You didn't want power. You just helped. She pointed at the core. It responds to intention, not blood. Suddenly Rayan's wrist comm crackled to life. This is Earth Commander Rayan Holt. Your signal was located. Hold position. He stared at the device in shock. Earth Command? We have received reports of alien energy signatures in your area. You are ordered to detain and secure the alien female. Immediate extraction en route. Do not resist. Zalara's eyes widened. No. Rayan stood frozen. Are they serious? They want me to hand you over? She stood slowly, her voice hollow. They want what all the others want, the energy. Rayan smashed his comlink against the wall. Sparks flew. I'm not giving you to anyone, but the damage was done. Earth had locked onto his location. A low hum filled the chamber. Zalara's head jerked toward the core. It's reacting to you again. You broke the chain. You refused an order. The core pulsed brighter waves of soft blue light, filling the room. Suddenly, Rayan's body locked in place. He couldn't move. Zalara, he called, trying to lift his arms. What's happening? She stepped closer, tears in her eyes. It's testing you. Blue tendrils of light reached out from the core, touching Rayan's body. He felt heat, pain, pressure, then memories that weren't his, burning skies, children screaming, starships falling, a galaxy where her kind were hunted like animals. Then silence. Rayan collapsed to the floor, gasping. He looked up. Why, did it show me that? Zalara knelt beside him. So you'd understand the price of mercy. The core's light faded to a gentle glow again, and something changed. Rayan stood slowly, and his eyes now shimmered faintly blue. His hands vibrated with low energy. The bond was no longer just between him and Zalara, it was now also tied to the core. He was part of something ancient. He felt stronger, sharper, wiser, but heavier too, as if carrying thousands of voices inside him. Then the core spoke not aloud, but into both of their minds. The Protector has chosen. He is accepted. Rayan blinked. Protector? Zalara gasped. It named you. That's never happened before. Suddenly alarms screamed. In the chamber, a red light flashed from the walls. Rayan's old wristcom, half broken, came back to life again. But this time, the voice wasn't military. It was Captain Lorna Reyes, his former commanding officer. Holt, listen carefully. The ones sent to extract you aren't from Earth Command. They're Black Ops, energy hunters, private contractors working under a shadow project. You're not safe. Rayan's blood ran cold. I should have known, he muttered. The cum crackled. They want the girl. If you let them take her, the core dies with her, and your bond will kill you. Rayan looked at Zalara. We fight. She nodded without hesitation. Outside the chamber, mechanical stomps echoed through the tunnels. Rayan activated his exosuit, its systems now boosted by the core's energy. The armor glowed faint blue. It felt like part of him now. He pulled out a fusion blade from the chamber wall gifted by the core itself. Zalara stood beside him, her arms lit with energy veins brighter than ever before. Together? She asked. RY and smiled. Always. The blast doors opened, and death walked in. What followed wasn't a battle, it was a storm. The Black Ops squad, covered in experimental armor, stormed in with gas grenades and sonic disruptors. But Rayan moved like lightning, blade humming, eyes glowing. Zalara danced through the chaos, releasing energy waves that burned machines and blinded sensors. They fought as one, two lives bonded, two worlds refusing to bow. By the time the fight ended, the chamber was silent again. The soldiers lay unconscious, their weapons melted, their suits broken. Rayan limped to the core and placed his hand on it. We defended it. The core replied in his mind, you have done more. You gave mercy where others gave none. Zalara stepped beside him. What now? She asked quietly. Rayan looked at her, eyes full of light and exhaustion. Now, he said, we choose what comes next, not them. She smiled through tears. Then let's build a world where no one has ever boiled for power again. And together, they walked back toward the surface, leaving behind not just a chamber, but an old era. A new story had begun. Rise of the energy. Queen. The first time Zilara stood beneath her people's twin suns again. She wasn't afraid, not anymore. The wind touched her face gently as if the planet itself was greeting her return. Rayan stood beside her, his armor scorched and his arm in a sling, but his eyes were sharp-focused. He didn't care about the pain. He only watched her. She no longer looked like the girl he rescued. In chains, she looked like a queen reborn, all. Around them, the energy tribes had gathered warriors, elders, even the children. Word had spread fast. The Source Girl had returned. But not as prey. This time, she came with fire in her veins and a protector at her side. High above, the mountain temple doors opened doors that hadn't moved in centuries. Zilara's presence had awakened something. The old energy stirred again. Recognizing her as rightful heir, some fell to their knees, others whispered. But no one dared attack. She stepped forward slowly, climbing the stone stairs where her ancestors once stood. The tribal high priest, his body thin, his face marked with deep red lines, watched her with unreadable eyes. "You come back glowing," he said coldly. "But you abandoned the binding, you refused the boiling." "I didn't refuse death," Zilara replied, her voice strong and steady. "I refused slavery." Whispers rippled through the crowd. Then she raised her hand and Rayan stepped forward. "This human," she continued, "was a stranger. He owed me nothing. And yet, he gave me everything I had been denied: choice, dignity, a second chance." The high priest scoffed. "He is nothing, a warm-blooded outsider with no caste." Zilara's voice turned sharp. "Then why did the core open to him and not to you?" The priest froze. "You touched it?" he said, eyes wide now. Rayan didn't say a word. He simply lifted his hand, and a ripple of soft energy pulsed from his palm. Core light, alive and undeniable. Gasps filled the air. "He carries the bond," someone shouted. "The core has marked him," said another dot, and then, one by one, they began to kneel. The priest fell silent. For the first time in decades, the chains of power cracked beneath the truth. "I claim my birthright," Zilara declared, stepping to the top of the platform. "But I will not rule as a vessel to be drained. I will lead as a being of choice, of light, and of unity." She turned to Rayan, "And I do not rule alone." Hours later, the stars began to rise. The ritual fires burned, but not for sacrifice. This time, it was for rebirth. In the great temple hall, once a place of sorrow, now echoed songs of celebration. Alien instruments hummed. Children danced with glowing ribbons of energy in their hands. Rayan sat at the edge of the hall, arms crossed. Exhausted. He still couldn't believe it. From hunted to hero, from outsider to honored guest, a group of young aliens approached him, eyes curious. "You're the one who made the queen smile," Rayan laughed. "I guess I am. You're the first human to step inside the temple and survive." One said. "She listens to you," another whispered. "I listened to her," Rayan corrected. Then, he felt her presence before he saw her. Zilara approached, wearing a royal cloak of shifting colors, woven with threads of light. But she had removed her crown. "I didn't come to be worshipped," she said softly. "I came to be free." Rayan stood slowly. "And now?" She reached for his hand. "Now I'm both." That night, under the twin moons, she took him to the high balcony of the temple. "This world," she said, "has lived in fear of losing energy for generations. That's why they boiled their own. It was never hatred. It was desperation." "And now?" Rayan asked. She smiled. "Now we show them another way." She raised her hand to the sky, and a burst of core light shot upward, like a beacon. Far beyond the clouds, in orbit, Earth's satellites caught the signal. Messages scrambled across frequencies, back in Earth Command. High-ranking officers stared in silence. As the core's frequency appeared on human screens for the first time, "The girl isn't just alive," one general said. "She's activating something. And who's that standing with her?" Asked another. Silence. Then someone replied, slowly, "That's our engineer." But Rayan no longer belonged to Earth. He had chosen something greater. Not control, not glory. Mercy. She chose the human. The next morning, the sky over Karen 5 turned gold, not just from the rising sun, but from something far brighter. A satellite from Earth descended through the atmosphere, dropping slowly with thrusters hissing, and landed just outside the ancient temple. The tribe gathered in silence. No one moved. No one spoke, because this was the first time in history Earth had come to ask, not take. Rayan stood in front of the crowd, his arms still bandaged, but his eyes full of fire. He knew exactly who had come, and he knew what they wanted. The shuttle door opened. Group of armored humans stepped out, soldiers in white suits with blue stripes. At the front stood Commander Hale, tall, clean-shaven, and cold as ice. He looked around at the glowing stone, the kneeling aliens, and the huge core light still pulsing above the mountain. His gaze stopped on Zalara. She stood proudly beside Rayan. No crown, no armor, only the light in her body and the strength in her eyes. Hale stepped forward. "Miss Zalara," he said, "I come on behalf of Earth's Energy Council. We understand your people possess a renewable source that could help thousands of human colonies. We request a full energy partnership." Zalara tilted her head. "Partnership or extraction?" Hale flinched. "We mean no offense. We're here peacefully." Then he looked at Rayan. "Engineer Holt, we offer you a full pardon. Return with us. Be honored. You'll be a hero on Earth." Rayan didn't move. He looked at Zalara instead. "Do you want me to leave?" he asked quietly. She shook her head. "I didn't survive death to lose you now." The silence that followed was long and final. Raya and stepped forward. "Commander Hale, you sent men to take her by force. You labeled her a biological asset. You didn't care if she lived or died. That was an earlier misunderstanding," Hale muttered. "Then let me be clear now," Rayan said. "There's no deal unless she agrees. You don't speak to me. You speak to her." Zalara walked forward. Her voice echoed across the stone walls. "I offer energy." "Yes, but only if Earth gives something in return," Hale blinked. "Which is respect. No more hunters. No more chains. And no more boiling girls like me to light your cities." She turned to her people, raising her voice. "From this day forward, we give our light only when it is chosen. No more blood in the fire." A wave of cheers and sobs followed. Rayan smiled. She wasn't just a queen anymore. She was a revolution. Later, as the sun dipped behind the distant peaks, Rayan stood with Zalara in the crystal garden behind the temple. It was quiet now. The energy tribe had begun to celebrate again, this time with hope. Zalara touched a small flower made of solid light. "Do you know what this is?" He shook his head. She smiled. "This flower grows only when two bonded souls survive the core's trial. It hasn't bloomed in over 1,000 years." Rayan looked down at the glowing petals. "So, this is our proof." She nodded. Then she reached into her robe and pulled out a small carved stone. "This belonged to my mother," she said. "She wore it on her wedding day." She pressed it into his hand. "I want you to have it." Rayan stared at the stone. "Zalara, is this what I think it is?" She stepped closer, her eyes filled with quiet warmth. "My people don't marry with rings. We gift memory stones, pieces of our past, carried into the future." She took his hand, closed his fingers over it, and whispered, "I choose you, Rayan Holt, not because I must, but because I want to." He didn't speak right away. He was too full of emotion. But then he leaned forward, touched his forehead to hers, and whispered, "I came to this planet to fix a machine. I didn't know I'd find the most important person in my life." They stood like that, silent. Bonded. Not by command. By orders. but by a choice made freely, the most human thing of all. Later that night, from far beyond the stars, Earth's colonies received their first transmission from Karen 5. The Energy Queen lives, the core is protected, and a human walks beside her by her invitation, not yours. Some rejoiced, some protested, but one thing was clear: the galaxy had changed, because one human showed mercy when the universe expected conquest, because one girl reached out, and he answered.